हम बोलते हैं ड्रीम ना, वी गेट सो एक्साइटेड बाय दैट वर्ड. अरे ड्रीम क्या है, व्हाट्स माय ड्रीम, हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू इंटरप्रेट इट. हम किसी को भगवान बना देते हैं. तुम ड्रीम हमारा इंटरप्रेट करो. सो टुडे आई थिंक आई एम सो हैप्पी यू आर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू डीमिस्टिफाई ड्रीम्स. पहले तो वो भी हमें करना होगा. दैट
जी।
हमने दूसरे को, जैसे हम किताब में से ड्रीम को demystify kare. We saying snake aaya, okay, now I know what the snake means for you. But unfortunately, that's not the way to do it. It's like saying I'm wearing somebody else's clothes और वो मुझे तंग हो रहे हैं, कपड़े बहुत तंग हो रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं पहन रही हूँ बिकॉज मुझे कहा गया कि मुझे पहनने हैं ये कपड़े. एग्जैक्टली वो एनोलॉजी यहाँ पे अप्लाई होती है. और यहाँ पे फ्रॉइड और यूंग का डिपार्चर हुआ था. Can I start my session? I don't know whether it started.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. It's already started
Okay,
that.
wonderful. So I want to start at that place where usko Freud thought that he's a prodigy. He was creating a prodigy around Jung, but Jung came up with a theory of the libido where he took everything away from just sexuality to other instincts. वहां पे डिपार्चर हुआ. Jung got into a depression. He went into his inner world. He had a lot of dreams. He also created, we know about the Black Book, where he wrote everything about the active imagination with the dreams, encounters with his soul. Then he wrote the Red Book, collected works. His biography, autobiography, that is something I would suggest. Even if you're not a Jungian, it's worth reading. That is called the MDR, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. Make a note to read that book. It's very powerful. Uski journey hamari journey hai. And you know what Jung has done? He so beautifully said, don't go by me. I'm no master. I'm no God. You have the ability to know yourself, and nobody would know you better than you do. And that's exactly what we do when we work with dreams in analysis. I'll go a little back and say that, see, I'm not an authority. मैं तो 5 साल से यूं को day in and day पढ़ रही हूँ, because we are part of the IAP, which is an international body in the US. And we are training at the Ahmedabad Jungian Center. We go undergo our own analysis, supervision. We read a lot of books, because the way Jung has worked in his one life, I think even if we take 20 births, I promise you we will not be able to go into the length and breadth of what he explored. तो आप सोचो, ऐसे मानो कि कॉन्शियस अनकॉन्शियस में रहता है. हमें लगता है कि हम कॉन्शियस है, हम बहुत होशियार है, बहुत दिमाग है, वी नो एवरीथिंग. बट सैडली सो, वी ओनली नो 5% or maximum 10%. The rest is housed in the unconscious. And what is the way, as Dr. Ranjan said, the super door to our unconscious is through dreams. So that is why they are so important. If we can respect our dreams, and trust me, everybody dreams. कोई बोलता ना नहीं ड्रीम करता. I had one person from the US, 35-year-old guy. So after the first session, I told him, please make a note of your dreams. If you get any dream, he laughed at me. He scorned at me and he said, Madam, 35 years की life में तो मुझे एक भी dream आया नहीं. I said, anyway, you keep a paper and pen. Aega, just welcome it. I just told him this much. The next time he comes with a big dream, when I say a big dream, it means it's an archetypal dream. It is something we can work with for session after session. And his dream was very simple. He said he's on top of a chat in a house in Baroda, and so there's a lion that walks up, and he encounters the lion. He gets so scared, he goes and hides behind the grill. And by chance his father walks up also. उसे नहीं पता कि उधर lion है. अब ये तो बच गया, लेकिन इसके फादर को कैसे बचाएगा? So the dream is about saving his father. I won't go into the interpretation, but one of the part, the archetype was Durga. It was Ambaji. He was very connected to Ambaji when he was in India. And Ambaji came with a message. The lion had not come to kill him, but had come to wake him up. He was in a toxic relationship for many years. And this was a way of waking him up and saying that, now you need to change. It's enough. And uski therapy, wo session se hi shuru ho gayi. So that was the beauty of that dream. That one dream took us to length and breadth of his life, not only his life, but generations of his life. We were able to help the father who had a compulsive habit of gambling too. So this is the power of dream. जितना हम बोले उतना कम होगा. और मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, मैं सिर्फ यूंगियन तरीके से बोल रही हूँ, because see we are still learning. My final exam I'm writing for my paper. Once I clear, then I can say I'm a Jungian analyst. Now also I'm working. I'm work under progress. So this is just a snapshot of what is possible in dreams. So, our topic is uncovering the hidden world of dreams. I hope we are able to understand how to understand dreams. I want to take you to that part, which is the last part. So, Robert Johnson, I'm following today's presentation, is his work. He was a Jungian analyst, and he was an American analyst, and an amazing one who actually linked the complicated Jungian theories and brought it to people like us. So I want to make it very simple today. I don't want to go into hardcore Jung work, but I want you to understand it through what Robert Johnson has told us. So Robert Johnson used to get a lot of dreams, and his dreams were there's the classic dreams on snakes. So what C.G. Jung told youthful Robert Johnson was, after hearing one of his dreams, and I would say this to all of us, including myself: spend more time alone. Have a separate room that can be used for nothing but for inner work. Never join any organization or collectivity when it comes to doing your personal work. Dr. Jung told me that the unconscious would protect me, give me everything I needed for my life, and that my duty was to do my inner work. All else would follow from this. He said that it is not the least important whether I accomplished anything outwardly in this life, but the task is to contribute to the evolution of the collective unconscious. इतने dedicated तो हम हैं नहीं, लेकिन I think even spending little time with your dreams can be very positively rewarding. So the objective is to observe your dreams and bring them alive in your personal growth. He used the word individuation, but here we are talking about our personal growth. Now, I want to tell you why I got into this work. 5 years back, what had happened? And, I just want to tell you that the first dream is the most important dream of your life. If you remember your first dream before you go for therapy, or you're in therapy, or even in your, जब आपने होश संभाला और आपको एक सपना याद है, that dream can be a very important dream. So my dream was very simple. I'm walking in a corridor and I sight my grandfather sitting in a small gurudwara where the priest, that is the Paiji, is reading a holy text, that is the Guru Granth Sahib. He waves out to me and wants me to join him in the basement. I shrug my shoulder and walk away. This is one part of the dream. This is dream one. I'm very scared because I was always scared of my grandfather and his energies. He was a very intense human being. So this is dream one. Second dream, after a week, I get the sequel to this dream. Everything else is the same. The setting is the same, but this time my grandfather waves out to me and I join him and sit close to him. So going underneath means going into the unconscious. Grandfather means the old um, uh, wise man energy, and text is spirituality, bringing you closer to spirituality. So आपको समझ में आ रहा है? अगर आपको ऐसा dream आया हो and you're still deciding whether I should join Jung or no, obviously this dream is an invitation and an initiation into Jungian work for me. Before that, I had already qualified 5 years ISTDP, intensive short-term psychodynamic psychotherapy. मुझे नहीं लग रहा था in my conscious world कि मुझे वापस और कुछ 5 साल के लिए करना चाहिए, 5-6 साल. But this dream actually changed things for me. So the unconscious has a language. Now it does not, if you notice, your dreams are never in words. ये तो हम लिख रहे हैं words, ये words तो हमारे हैं. Dreams कैसे आएंगे? Images में आएंगे, colors में आएंगे, कुछ shift move कर रहा है वो आएंगे. It will show you a landscape. So the unconscious has a different language and the conscious has a different language. Now we have to unpack the dream and try and understand it symbolically. It's a symbolic way of understanding. We experience the unconscious as it acts on us and through us. It's like an automatic pilot. Dreams ho rahe hain. Dreams are happening. You're getting at least 3 to 4 dreams every night. But we don't know how to capture them. Now, what happens is the unconscious, it's a marvelous universe of unseen energies, forces, forms of intelligence. Even there are distinct personalities in us. A very mean part of me is there. A very jealous part of me is there, but it will never show up in my waking life because मुझे ऐसे ट्रेन किया गया है अपने माँ बाप के से और मेरी साइकोलॉजी की ट्रेनिंग में कि बुरा नहीं बनना है, बुरा नहीं सोचना है. So what happens is all those things go into my unconscious and stay in my unconscious. But that does not mean it is not me. Now, what happens in neurosis, when the person is very agitated, very anxious, sometimes something from the unconscious comes up, leaks out into the conscious. And that is the time you sometimes feel dissociated. You say, ये तो मैं नहीं हूँ. आपने कभी माफ किया होगा कोई इंसान जो बहुत गॉड फियरिंग है, अच्छा बंदा है, suddenly kills somebody or does something wrong, harms society, does something antisocial. You don't want to believe that this person has done it. But there is every proof that that person has done this. ये कहाँ से हुआ? So there are two paths. There is a conscious and an unconscious. The conscious does not allow these things to come up. So the ego is dominating here. It dominates and we look at the world through our ego and our persona. And the unconscious houses all our secret thoughts, feelings, and behavior. I think you all can connect to this ना, जब हम कई बार सोच रहे हैं और बहुत किसी का बुरा सोच रहे हैं, वो कहाँ से आ रहा है? And then suddenly you change it. You say, no, no, I don't want to think like this. अच्छा नहीं है ये it's not good to think like this. That is not, that is also you. I love this tree. I love the way this diagram has taken it from an internet source on Jungian work. So I'm sure this evokes something in all of you. Just spend a moment to think about what is this tree saying to you? Have you seen something like this before? Does it remind you of something? So for each dream image, supposing this is your dream and you have drawn your dream, मुझे ये tree दिखी, मुझे पानी दिखा और कोई person चलते हुए देखा, पीछे आसमान है. Supposing this is a dream. Now, what we need to ask, and Robert Johnson in the inner work has, I'm quoting from there, each dream image, you need to ask, what part of me is that? Okay. Where have I been seen? Where have I seen it functioning in my life lately? Where do I see the same trait in my personality? Who is it inside me who feels like or behaves like this? Now, these are some questions because the entire symbolic frame of a dream represents every part of you. It's not different. And okay, let me take you to this first because I think this is a very basic concept of the psyche. If we just get this, I don't want you to learn it or anything, but just if you can understand it, I think then when we use these words, it will be a little easy for you. So the self was the Atman, is the Atman. It is the self with a capital S, and it has two parts to it, which is the conscious part and the unconscious part. Now, there is something that is dividing the conscious from the collective unconscious, is the personal unconscious. What I'm doing right now, I'm talking from my ego. When I met you and I said, hello, how are you? I'm fine. And I'm going to do this. I'm operating from my persona. Persona is the mask that I wear, that is a social mask that I wear to represent myself in the outer world. So the ego has a part which is the persona, and the other part is the shadow. All the things which I want to hide, I repress because it is not acceptable. It is dark. It is not something which I want to see about myself. So either I'm not aware of it, and what I do is I project it on the other person. I say, ये person ill-mannered है, या ये person को बहुत गुस्सा आता है. So that could be my projection to the world outside, if you're getting what I'm saying. So we have the persona, which is the looking good, and then we have the shadow, which is the dark part, and the ego is the master of the conscious. It is looking after, it tells you what can be done, what cannot be done, what you can say, where you can say it. You wouldn't start dancing in a session because your ego would stop you. It would say, no, that's not what is acceptable. Then you have two parts, the anima and the animus. That is the part of the anima is the inner side, the feminine side of a man, and the animus is the inner, that is the masculine side of a woman. So this is the entire construction. And when we talk about dreams, that means what we do is dream to हम conscious हो गए, हमने लिख दिया ये dream आया. Then my grandfather called me to the Gurudwara, whatever. That is conscious. Now, what is the personal unconscious? What is it that this dream is unpacking for me? Who is my grandfather to me? What does he represent? Is he somebody I liked? Somebody I didn't like? Was there some experience I had with him? Collective unconscious में आएगा archetype of a wise old man. Who is a wild old man? Brahma for me, or is it Vishnu? And what does that person, or is it Guru Nanak? And what is the energy that person is representing? So what we do is, if you notice, there are layers in which we have to understand. So that is why the person is the most important part of the dream. It's not the dream, it is the person we are engaging with who's talking about his dream or her dream. I think if this is clear, then when we look at this tree, so I'll tell you that there was one industrialist. This is again from some literature from Jung's work. Uh, he had this dream. It's a beautiful tree and everything looks green and lovely. And yet there was a part of him that was very sad and disturbed. And then outside, he was very successful, doing brilliantly well. Life was rocking for him. But there was still this dream that would keep nagging him. And then he realized that under the dream, when he did active imagination of the dream, that means he entered his dream and started talking to the dream. So, active imagination basically is a technique of assimilating the unconscious material through a form of self-expression. So either it could be writing, talking about it, drawing it. So he said that the tree is decayed inside. Tree नीचे खोखली है, बाहर से बहुत अच्छी दिख रही है. And he was detected of cancer, which was totally out of the way. So what I want to draw your attention to is sometimes our lives are working pretty well. The world thinks we are doing well. We are ambitious. Everything is going well. But that is only at the conscious level. Somewhere at the unconscious level, we haven't really aligned. We have not been able to connect to our conscious. So this person, his dream warned him that there is something not right. And then he seeked help, and I don't know the rest, but this is how the dream goes. Dream tells you things which you may not know of. So the hidden parts of ourselves where we have strong feelings and want to express them. Unless we learn to do the inner work, they will not stay, they will not come into the conscious. You have to invite them. बहुत प्यार से invite करना पड़ता है. ऐसा नहीं कि बस अभी मुझे आज dream चाहिए, dream आना ही चाहिए. You have to activate that part of you which is the softer, subtle, the earth part of you, not the matter, that is the not the spirit part, that is the head. The logos से dreams नहीं आते, eros से आते, love से आते. So sometimes these hidden personalities are embarrassing, violent, they are humiliating, and other times they can also be a big source of strength and fine qualities. For example, I had a client whose parents always looked down upon her. Everybody were doctors in the family but her, and she was made to feel small if she did anything, accomplished anything in psychology or in her field. And all her strengths got hidden. She never felt that she was good for anything. She felt like an imposter. And it was through the dreams that she realized that she had such fine qualities which she was not able to activate. तो कई बार जब नेगेटिव मदर होती है या the environment doesn't support you, then even your positive qualities can get hidden. Now, dreams and their symbols. I want to show you some symbols. Can you connect to many of them? These are universal symbols. These are not something. The moment you see the symbol, it'll evoke something in you. These are archetypal because they're coming from the collective unconscious. However, each one of us, if you look at the symbol of a snake, does it evoke something in you? Can you put in the chat, what does this snake evoke in you? When you see a snake, what does it feel like to see a snake? If some of you can do that, or at least think about it, no problem. So very honestly, though, हम बोलते हैं कि snake ने Eden garden में, it awakened Adam and Eve to the real world. So it was sinister, it was dark, it revealed something to them. But actually, snakes can be very transforming. They can be very deep because they come from the soil, they come up from there. So, as much as serpents lead into the shadow, it has a function of the anima. It leads you into the depth. It connects you from the above and the below. So there are two ways in which we can see dreams. One is my understanding of what a snake is, and the other is what others feel. Yes, it creates a mysterious power. You feel that there's something beyond you. And yes, it also creates fear. Thank you so much. I want to share my personal thing with snakes. Snakes, whenever they've come to my dream, I think I may have dreamt very lucidly about snakes 3 times in my life so far. And trust me, every time, by the third dream, I could figure that out. This is serious stuff. And I'm not looking at something which I should be looking at. And I just get a call after that dream. And at night, I get this dream. I'm in a jungle, in Tadoba jungle, and we are just ready to take the train back. I get a call, and that's an SOS call. And I knew that the snake and that snake, the dream is like this, it's trying to enter my house, and I'm trying to push it out. I don't want it to come into my house. So it is saying, I want to awaken you, I'm your shadow, but I'm saying, I don't want to see it. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the power of a dream. Whether you like it or no, it's still going to be there. And it's up to us what we do with that. So this was my personal conscious, unconscious, which was telling me that this is, whenever I get a dream of a snake, it is actually warning me about something which I should not be scared of, but I should be aware of. Now I want you to do a little activity because I want you also to figure this out and apply it. Supposing this is the color, this is what I want you to see. I am in a blue room. Supposing you see this image or think of a blue room, that this is your dream, you are in a blue room. Think about what kind of images do you have about the color blue and write it down or put it down on the chat. You may have more than one association with the color blue. Just write down whatever your associations are with the color blue. I'm giving you 2 minutes for that. Think of all experiences or associations with the color blue. All right. So now tell me, out of all the images or whatever connect association you have, pick up one which you think has you have an emotional connect to. Like supposing it could be my blue mood, or it could be my blue favorite dress. Whatever association, which is the most important for you, just put it down. Yeah, I can see some chats. That's great. So if you have an association, yes, Vishuddha, yes, blue balloon, Krishna, night sleep, deep space, exactly. So what we do then is we work only with that image. So your association could be a general reaction to the color. I feel quiet, peaceful, with blue things around me. The purpose is to find what is your unique association. And as you go through the associations, you will notice there is one which will generate more energy. We stay with that, and then we try and amplify that with the client. So what about that? Tell me about it. So what was when you were wearing this blue color favorite dress? When were you wearing it? What was happening in your life? How was it feeling? What is it that is significant? So that's how we start unpacking that person's association with that dream. And now what when we talk about the self, he took it from our Upanishads, that contribution of individuation in and Atman, the self, comes from our holy text. That's why, it's very ironical. Full life, we studied American books in psychology, and today we are going back as scholars to study about our own, about our own scriptures through Jung and his work. So all of them, if you look at any, Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, Guru Nanak, any prophet, each of them carry the archetype of a unified self. If you see that halo, that is what it is, that they have awakened every part of them. This is what happens is it is because of the conflicts in our personal life and our willingness to face them and convert them into constructive dialogue that we can grow towards consciousness. So, the idea of our work would be to integrate the conscious with the unconscious, the dark with the light, the persona with the shadow, the anima with the animus. Like, for example, many times when we look at who we want to marry somebody who is not like us. You say, I want somebody who is strong, tough, who can handle my behavior, and I'm very childish. So we are looking for people who are maybe the opposite of us. The truth is, if you can balance your own anima and animus, then you're relating to people as they are, and you're not making an illusion of them, nor are you projecting what you want out to them. I know this is a little we going away from the topic, but I'm just saying that anima animus, when we learn, and that is in the second part of our life. Jung said, first part of the life is always about becoming something. But as we reach our 35, 40 onward, I think our journey changes, and that journey turns into inward journey. And that's where we are working towards individuating. So now the last part, I want to talk about approaching dream work. Now, when we talk about dreams, and I would like to read a very short dream that is again from Robert Johnson's inner work. There's a woman, it's her dream, a middle-aged woman, and she's called it the Renegade Dream. I think I will stop share for some time so you all can see me also. So the dream goes like this. I'm looking for my car keys. I realize my husband has them. Then I remember my brother had borrowed my car and had not returned it. I see both of them. I call out to them. They don't seem to hear me. Then a disheveled young man, like a renegade, gets into my car and drives off. I feel extremely frustrated, helpless, and somewhat abandoned. ये उसका ड्रीम है, इतना सा ही ड्रीम है. पर ये ड्रीम में से वो क्या उसको क्या जानने मिला कि मतलब two people who are her husband and brother are part of this dream, and there is one unknown character who enters her car and drives her away from that place. So the first thing is dreams are expressing an unconscious part of her, unheard part of her. And the symbols, every symbol is herself and the dynamics between her and the other person. Like for example, is she seeing her husband? Husband is what? Oh, he's a very loving, caring, beautiful family man. The brother loves her, brother wants to be with her, and he misses his sister. So now the in the active imagination, as I told you that when we work with her, one the therapist entered her dream and spoke to the different paths. She realized that her husband said, sweetheart, I love you so much, but you're never available. You have no time for me. You don't seem to be there when I really need you. The brother says that, where is that sister brother bond gone? I loved you and you love me, and we promised that we would spend a lot of time together. I don't see you. So now, what she is realizing through this dream is she has ignored a part of her, which is like her father, like her brother and her husband, that is a quiet, meditative, centered part of her. And she's become this extroverted professional who has no time for the family, home, and so she, in a way, we can call it is an animus possession. She's possessed by making a name, fame, and stuff like this. Now, this dream, the car represented herself and how she gets hijacked by a part of her which is very masculine. Yeah, and like a car, the pattern is mechanical and somehow it is out of her control. So the dreamer now understood one thing after she was able to look at different parts of a dream. And what she did is she made some drastic changes in her life. She cut down her involvement in the work outside, gave more time to her family. She became quiet and she started doing more inner work. आपने नोटिस किया ये हम सबकी स्टोरी है, यस और नो? पहले हमने बहुत काम किया, बहुत प्रूफ किया, नेम, फेम, लुकिंग गुड, एंड नाउ वी रीच्ड अ स्टेज वेयर वी से, do I want to do this? Is this something that's adding value to me? And we start reducing those things. At least I've seen that 10 things I can do, then I'm saying I'm happy doing one, but I want to have fun doing what I'm doing. So this dream was a very powerful dream, which basically illustrates that even short dreams can give you deep insights into yourself. And rather than wasting more years, सब कुछ लूट गया, खत्म हो गया, and then she will realize that, अरे, I've lost my husband, I could not spend time. This dream gave her an opportunity to actually look at herself. So, continuing, now I just want to, this is the last part, that what I just said is the paths of the how we interpret, making association. So the first thing that she did is she associated the dream. What are the different parts of the dream? Her husband, her brother, and an unknown person is there in the dream. So she looked at all the animus figures in the dream. Now, Jung talked a lot about mystery, myth, fairy tales, that how these things get manifested from the unconscious like dreams. Like for, if you remember my dream, I had a wise old man image. And I think he's across all cultures. Sometimes you have a great mother, like supposing, the dream is in your grandmother's house, कि हम नानी के घर जाते थे, dream वहां पे आया. It clearly means that you are in the safe place of a great mother. Sometimes dreams can be brutal. You have somebody who is possessing you, like a woman recently had a dream. She was kidnapped by a woman in a salwar kameez, put into a room, and the room had many columns. Many people were in that room, and she was brought there, and she gets up and says, "Why have you got me here?" And that woman pushes her down and says, "This is your place. You will never be able to leave this place." So in a way, this dream is, it could be the Kali, the terrible goddess who is here to give her a message. Now, honestly, you cannot look at anything as good or bad in Jungian concepts. A bad has a good and a good has a bad. So Kali was what? She's a destroyer. In fact, I would love to come back to this space and talk about how we unpack Kali in Jungian work in therapy. So she's a destroyer, but she's also a protector. She's protecting you from what? The vices within you, Kam, Krodh, Lo, Moh, Hankar, or whatever is outside. So these are some associations. One is your personal association, she had her own, and then you can have other associations. So hers could be the great mother's quality of Aphrodite, that is the Greek goddess of love. Now, using personal associations, no dream symbol can be separated from the individual who dreams it. Each individual varies so much in a way that his unconscious complements and compensates his conscious mind. That is impossible to be sure how far dreams and their symbols can be classified. बहुत मुश्किल है, हर ड्रीम अलग है, हर ड्रीमर अलग है, context alag hai. So till we don't indulge and go into each one, we are not able to work around it. The second was the dynamics. What was the dynamics in the dream? What part of me is my represented by my husband, by my that outlaw, that rebel who drives the car? So you can think of all the different paths. Like for example, when you did that thing of blue, did you look at any blue quality inside you? What is that blue quality? When did you feel blue? When did you feel depressed? And then these images start opening up and they come into your conscious and you're able to understand them better. So the second part is the dynamics. Then you connect the images to specific characters. Now, many times when you see a chore in your dream, a thief in your dream, doesn't mean that you are a thief. It just means that the dream is dramatizing something that you need to give attention to in your waking life. It may be that are you dishonest in your diet? You say, मैं तो इतना ही खाता हूँ, मैं तो इतना ही खाती हूँ, but you are eating other things and that is why you're putting on weight. That's one. I exercise every day, but you don't do it. So it can be that it can come in the symbol of a thief in your dream. So if you find yourself in your maternal grandmother's house, that means what is the energy of that place and how does that unfold for you? So making connections to specific characteristics of the dreams is also something which we look at. Then step 3 is the interpretation. If you We say now that don't look at books for interpretations. The interpretation has to be with somebody who knows about dreams, who can help you. Very honestly, I may do a lot of dream work with my clients, but my dream work I cannot do alone. I need my analyst to help me unpack. I need my supervisor to help me to understand what are the counter transferences that I'm taking to my work. So the associations are very important. When we are interpreting, that woman, what she thinks of her husband can be very different from what I think of my husband and my brother. Okay. So that becomes important. If it's her dream, then we have to look at her. So we have to sum up all the dreams in that manner. And last is the ritual. Ritual means what is that? When the dream comes to you and it told her that you're spending too much time, you're not relaxing, you're not easing yourself. So what was her ritual? I'll start going to the beach. I'll start meditating. I'll actually go and meet my brother more often. I will create plans around my family. So, what happens is that it is like a mind, body, and soul, the integration where consciously the mind awakens and the ideas and the images of the dream they enter your body. Because, see, even if her husband had told her 100 times, you're not spending time with me, you don't care for me, she would have done nothing about it. This dream manifested and took her to that place which she was not seeing, that part of her which was a shadow. And that is how, when you listen to a dream, you respect the dream. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do everything. It doesn't mean as you slap somebody in your dream, you slap the person in your waking life. Remember, dreams are amoral, they don't know right or wrong. It is for the ego to decide what part of the dream needs to be respected and honored. So these are the four parts of a dream. And if you need to know anything about this kind of work, how you can study Jungian work, and you want to be part of our activities now and in the future, if this excites you, then you can just take my number or my email ID, and I would love to help you uh, know more about Jungian work.